Okay, hello everyone. And whether you've heard of the Humane League UK before, and maybe you've come to see us today at our store, or you haven't heard of us before, and maybe you're planning on coming to our store today, thank you very much for coming to this talk today. My name is KLARA SCHMIDT. I am the Operations Assistant for the Humane League UK, which basically means that my job is to make sure everyone on the team is equipped to do the wonderful work that they do for animals. And today this talk is really for you to get an overview of our work as an organisation and the achievements that we've had, as well as why we believe it is so important to get involved with our cause, and of course ways that you can get involved. So first, a bit of background. The Humane League was founded in 2005 in the US, and first of all it was an animal liberation and protest group, and we then expanded, and now we're in the UK. In 2016 we started with only one campaigner on the team. We're now a team of 14, and we're also working in Japan and Mexico as well. So that makes us a multinational organisation. And we, what I always like to say when I introduce people to the Humane League is I like to mention that Animal Charity Evaluator has recognised us as a top charity for our effective campaigns, and we are the only animal group to receive this distinction every single year in a row since this award has started. So what Animal Charity Evaluator has to say is that it is not any single program that we run or any single campaign that makes our work so successful, but it is our general approach to advocacy. And I would like to tell you a little bit more about this approach at the Humane League. So one big element of our work and our approach is collaboration with other animal groups, because we realize that the abuse of animals raised for food is a global crisis, and this is a movement that is bigger than ourselves. And this is why we work together with other animal groups, and we share resources and we provide training in order to drive change for animals. So this is why in 2016 we founded the Open Wing Alliance. The Open Wing Alliance is a coalition of animal groups who are all united in one common goal: to end the abuse of chickens worldwide. And at the moment, I thought there was more to it. At the moment, there are 59 member organizations of the Open Wing Alliance across 4 continents, and every year 10 million chickens are freed from cages globally because of the work that the Open Wing Alliance does. Our mission is one that I believe many of you in this room can identify with, and it's a simple one. We exist to end the abuse of animals raised for food. And we do so with our 2-pronged approach. So on the one hand, we drive institutional change. That means that we hold corporations accountable, corporations within the food industry or involved within the food industry, and we work with them to improve the animal welfare standards. On a more individual level, we open eyes. So we reach out to people and we advocate for plant-based options. Now, it becomes really obvious why we do this, why we put our focus on farmed animals and on advocating for plant-based options, encouraging people to leave animals off their plates. In the UK, the number of farmed animals killed for food every year is the same as the number of animals that people have as companions in the UK. So it becomes clear that while of course we love all animals, we focus on farmed animals because they suffer in by far the greatest numbers. And we do so by taking a pragmatic approach. When we focus on one campaign at a time, which allows us to operate in a laser-focused way so that we can drive change for animals as quickly and as effectively as possible. And because of our commitment to driving change quickly and effectively for animals, we actually have our own research arm in the US called the Humane League Labs. They conduct studies and they make practical recommendations for us to improve our strategies, and we use this information that they provide us to constantly evaluate our work. So You can imagine as much like a business. A business would have a bottom line to increase profit margins, just that our bottom line is to reduce the amount of suffering while increasing the number of animals that we affect with this. And speaking of campaign targets, people often ask us, but how do you pick your targets? Well, some behind the scenes info is that we have a wonderful corporate outreach team who work exclusively with companies to improve the animal welfare policies. And it is only when these companies refuse to work with us that we launch a campaign against them. So when we started in 2016 in the UK, our focus was on egg-laying hens. So that was, we supported a switch from cages to cage-free systems in the UK. And the reason why we did this is because science shows us that we can significantly reduce the suffering of these birds by switching from cage systems to cage-free alternatives. And what can I say? We've done so very successfully. So thanks to our cage-free campaign, every major and mid-sized retailer in the UK has committed to end the sale of eggs from caged hens. And also major catering companies in the UK have pledged to do the same. And what is more, 75% of the entire restaurant market in the UK have committed to go cage-free, and many of them even favouring free-range options. So one of the biggest campaign wins that we had with this cage-free campaign was against Noble Foods. Noble Foods is the biggest egg producer in the UK, and they hold 4.3 million hens in cages, which is absolutely horrendous thinking about it. But thanks to our aggressive 6-month campaign, they have pledged to replace all of their cage systems with alternative systems. And since they've done that, 3 other major egg producers have also pledged to do the same. So what we can see is that the egg industry fears our effective corporate campaign more than anything. We can see here in this chart, you can see the green line is cage egg production, the blue line is free-range production. And when we were most active with our campaign in 2017 and 2018, there was a spike in free-range production and a decline in cage egg production. And in the first quarter of 2018, free-range production, for the first time in history, actually overtook cage egg production in the UK. Well, all that said, of course, asking companies to go cage-free isn't enough. This is a compromise, but this is just the beginning. And we are wrapping up on our work on caged hens in the UK now. There will, of course, be more work to do to make sure that companies actually follow through with their commitments, and also in the future to push for legislative change to completely outlaw these systems eventually. But right now, there are also other pressing issues to address. And this is why right now we focus on broiler chickens with our campaigns. Broiler chickens suffer in horrendous numbers. So we've launched... One second. So sorry, you can see here the changes in chicken growth since 1957. So you might think, what is the issue with these broiler chickens? So there's 1 billion broiler chickens in the UK every year killed for food. And this is why we launched our 1 in a Billion campaign to improve the standards for these chickens. One of the biggest issues is the breeds that are being used for them. So faster growing breeds have been introduced to produce more meat in a short amount of time. And you can see here that the size of chickens since 1957 has actually quadrupled. Well, this has come at a huge cost for these birds. This bird here has ascites, or water belly syndrome. It's a disease that is common amongst these birds of faster growing breeds, as well as heart diseases, muscle diseases, and many of them have bone injuries as well, fractured legs, because they can't actually carry their own weight anymore. Many of these birds live in completely overcrowded conditions, suffering from ammonia burns caused by the toxic fumes of their own waste. And they're of course susceptible to the diseases of the birds around them as well. They live without any enrichments whatsoever. And if all of that wasn't horrible enough, At only 5 to 6 weeks old, so they're technically still babies, these birds go to slaughter. They're being inverted, they're being shackled, even though many of them have severely injured legs, being electrocuted, but due to the flaws of the water bath stunning, many of them are still fully conscious when they then go to slaughter. So again, you probably think that this is absolutely horrendous, and we need to do something about it. This needs to end. So this is exactly what we thought when we launched our 1 in a Billion campaign to help these birds. So what we ask for with this campaign is we ask companies to commit to a better chicken commitment or European chicken commitment, which is a united ask, which has been created by leading animal protection organizations, defining a minimum standard for higher welfare chickens for these companies to commit to. And this would include slower growing breeds, as well as alternative slaughter methods, as well as also more enrichments, better light and space conditions. We've already seen some success with this campaign in the UK. So many companies in the manufacturing sector, as well as the restaurant sector, and lately also in the retail sector, you can see here Marks and Spencer's and Waitrose as well have committed in 2019. And also KFC was the first fast food giant to make this commitment in the UK. And by this, the life of 64 million chickens are affected every year. Also, 2 of the biggest poultry suppliers in the UK have committed to the better chicken commitment, so meaning that they will be able to provide this higher welfare chicken meat to retailers. So we can see that these companies move forward with this campaign a lot earlier than they did with eggs. They seem to really see that this is a pressing issue that needs to be addressed. Some of the campaigns that we run are part of this 1 in a Billion campaign. So the 1 in a Billion campaign is an overarching campaign, and they are smaller company-specific campaigns. So some of them we have actually won within hours of launching the campaign. This was the case last year with Prezzo and Pret, and this year with Le Pain Quotidien as well. However, some other campaigns we haven't won that quickly, and one of the biggest fights we are still fighting against McDonald's. So McDonald's needs 350 billion chickens every year globally to meet their production needs. And we have launched our I'm Not Loving It campaign last year, and we're asking McDonald's to make commitments for chickens in their supply chain. So this is part of our campaign in Chicago. We have placed bench ads strategically next to McDonald's outlets to raise awareness for our campaign and to show customers that McDonald's has a secret to hide from them. This was also our intention with our 6-foot-tall unhappy meal. And we've picked up the fight in the UK as well. So in Glasgow and London, we have had mobile billboards installed. Another billboard here in London in high traffic areas for people to see, raising awareness for our campaign and making them aware of the truth that McDonald's has to hide. We've also been interviewing people outside of McDonald's, and we've shown them honest imagery of the standards in which McDonald's chickens are being forced to live. And we've asked them what they think about it. And, well, the overwhelming response was that most people think it's wrong what they do, and they think that McDonald's really needs to change. So I think that this McDonald's campaign is a really good example that change doesn't always come easy, and often it takes sustained public campaigning to achieve this change. And, well, this is where you come in. We couldn't do any of these changes. We couldn't do any of the work for the animals that we do if it wasn't for our wonderful volunteers. So our volunteers are the people on the ground and online that really drive progress, they are the people that make the pressure that companies feel real. Our volunteers are extremely important to us, and we get them involved right from the beginning of a campaign, often asking for their input for the campaigns. And we put so much trust in our volunteers because we know that they are the ones that ultimately will drive this change for the animals. And, well, some good news, we're always looking for new volunteers to join our team. So if you were interested in volunteering at all, we do have a store today. Please come and chat to us. And I know what it can feel like sometimes, thinking about volunteering from when I first started volunteering with the Humane League UK myself about 2.5 years ago. I thought, oh, do I have enough time? Do I have the right skills? Do I have enough experience? But I'm here to tell you that whether you have 5 minutes every week or 5 hours or 5 days, or whether you've been to loads of activism events before and loads of protests, or you haven't been to any of this, you can become an activist with THL and you can have an impact for the animals. So I say that because literally you can get involved with only a couple of minutes every week with our online actions. And also, if you think that maybe you don't have the right experience, we make sure that we will provide you with the training that you need to become a confident activist. So I would just like to give you an impression of what it can be like volunteering with us and some of the actions that our volunteers do, and ways that you could get involved if you decided to be an activist for us. So one really fun thing that I always like to do is leafleting. And our volunteers like this because we really get our message spread to the public. We speak to people outside of, in this case, McDonald's, and we talk about our campaign with them. We hand over leaflets to them, and in this way we also put pressure on the companies by sending them pictures of these leafleting activities, and they really don't like it when they see that we're spreading the truth about their secrets. Our volunteers also place posters in their local communities and schools, in universities, cafes and public places, again, raising campaign awareness. And they often help us out with our stunts. So this was an action at McDonald's headquarters. We do these kind of stunts to get media attention. And they also take part in one of our campaigns, which is the Plant-Based Revolution campaign. So the Plant-Based Revolution is all about educating the public about how amazing vegan food can be and how easy it can be to make, and thereby advocating for vegan options and encouraging people to leave animals off their plates. Our volunteers also get involved with online actions. Now, online actions are really important to sustain our ground actions, so we share a lot of photos that we take at our ground actions online, but also there's other online actions to get involved with, so like leaving Google reviews for targeted companies, as well as social media comments, or it might be writing emails to employees of the targeted companies. We also infiltrate industry events, which is something that many of our volunteers like. It's quite fun to do because it involves a bit of acting. So what we do is we go to these events, which might be like franchise events, or they might be award ceremonies within the meat industry. And we dress up really smartly, and we hand out envelopes to the participant of these events. Well, what they think is that we hand out event information to them. But really what we do is we hand out campaign information and we inform them about our broiler chicken asks. So here we were at the British Poultry Awards last year in London, and we actually managed to get these envelopes into the hands of heads in the poultry industry. We also run petitions that our volunteers sign and share, and lately we've also started petition signature gathering sessions as well. We take boycott pictures, so our volunteers commit to boycotting these targeted companies, the companies that we campaign against, and we take these pictures and send them to the company's CEOs so that they really see that their customers do want change. We take lots of these pictures at our action parties, which is something I will tell you about next. Action parties, I think, are the best way to get involved with volunteering. So they're run by our volunteers, and at these action parties we all come together to carry out action for the animals. So all the online actions that we do, as well as letter writing or taking boycott pictures, and we've also started including discussions of which elements we could include in our campaigns in these action parties. And it's a great way to meet like-minded people as well, and to get involved with Humane League UK. So we don't currently have an action party in Reading. If you might be interested in running such an event, or you might know someone who is, please do come to speak to us at our store after this talk. Our volunteers also take part in protests, and sometimes they organise them, and they even write their own press releases and contact local press for coverage. And they run stalls at events like this one. So at this point, I'd like to give a big shout out to Sharanya, who's running the store with me today and is doing a really great job as a first store. And what we do is we collect volunteer sign-ups, and we raise awareness about our cause, as well as collect donations and sell our wonderful merchandise. So if any of this sounded like you might be interested in volunteering with us, then please do get in touch with us. You can email Katie. Katie's our volunteer coordinator, and she'd be happy to set up a call with you and to really see what your interests are, what your skills are, what kind of time you have on your hands, and to really figure out what your volunteering experience with us could look like. But also, please come and chat to us after this talk, and we can give you a little impression of all the different actions that you can get involved with. I would just like to stress again that you can give as much or as little time, there you go, as you'd like. There's really a way for everyone to get involved and to make changes for animals. We also have volunteer positions that are leadership positions within the community. So our regional rep program is designed so that volunteers organize events in their local area. So as a regional rep, you actually receive specific training on volunteer management and effective campaigning as well. And we currently only have 10 regional reps across the UK, but we ideally would like to have 2 regional reps in every region in the UK. So if you, again, knew anyone who would be interested in a position like this, or you might be interested yourself, please come and chat to us, and we'll be able to talk you through the application process for a role like this. And the very easiest way to get involved with our work and with our actions is to sign up to our Fast Action Network. You can do this here today at our store. And the Fast Action Network is something that I would recommend to everyone who only has a couple of minutes every week maybe to complete some actions. So we will send you 1 or 2 emails every week asking you to do actions that will literally take about 1 to 2 minutes. There might be something like emailing the CEO of a company, or might be something like leaving comments on social media, leaving Google reviews. And because so many people do all these actions at the same time, this is really where we can put pressure on companies and show them that we would like to see change. So if I want you to take away anything at all from this talk today, it is that as a community of activists, we can make a change for the animals. I know that we can often feel disheartened, or we can feel like overwhelmed by all the amount of suffering that is going on in this world. But I would like to remind you that change is possible and it's happening, and that you are part of it. So yes, I would like to thank you for coming to this talk today. And yes, please do come and see us at our store, or get in touch with Katie. And yes, I hope you all enjoy Reading Vegan Festival today. Thank you.